Black people, one of the things that we need to recognize is that prior to integration, when the writing was on the wall that segregation was going to end, that Jim Crow was going to end, an economic war, an economic method of keeping black people substandard in America was being put in place. Let me show you a demonstration.
Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
To sell to
Today,
the
Negroes
Negro.
shop downtown. They shop in supermarts. They shop in small neighborhood stores. They'll buy from anyone who wants to sell to them. But we all know that before you can sell to customers, you've got to get to know them. You must understand something about them. What do the Negro customers buy? Why do they buy? How do you sell to them?
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro shops. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off-brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand, that's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
My, isn't it beautiful? I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we don't deserve nice things. As the man said in the video, our grandparents were sold shoddy material, sold the worst things, because the society at the time didn't believe that we deserved anything nice. So when we got the opportunity and started making more money and we was able to buy nicer things, it is natural to buy those nicer things. One of the good things about in the 50s and 60s is that we didn't go into tremendous amounts of debt to have those things. We recognize, our ancestors recognized, that purchasing your house as an investment was one of the biggest investments. Buying land was a primary investment. Creating methods to increase your wealth was one of the primary things that our ancestors had. Unfortunately, after integration, and we started saying that we want to purchase the goods from the enemy of the day, we forgot about our own people. We forgot about our own selves. And I have to say, during the 80s, when I was a teenager, everybody knows who was my age or older know 80s was the time of expression. It was a time of luxury. It was a time of buying every goddamn thing. I mean, we bought in the 80s. Consumerism was at a high in the 80s, and debt became a big thing. Everybody had to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody had to figure out a way to have things that they couldn't naturally afford. We felt like we needed to have exactly whatever they had, and we lost our sensibility of good finances. And up until today, we have people who buy watches that are $8 million, boats and cars and all these things that are extravagant, that most of them lose their value as time goes on. We buy things now to show off instead of buying things that are needed and then buying those things we desire, but maintaining our budget within purchasing those things. Many feel like they deserve to have the bigger house. Just look at the housing crash that happened around 2010. All these people who were making $40,000, $50,000 a year, because they was based on the LIBOR, they're buying these $700,000 houses, $500,000 houses, that once the interest-only loan was over and the LIBOR corrected itself, they lost those houses. Many lost those houses. And the investors swooped in and took them all, re-gentrified the hell out of neighborhoods, took those houses, and now people are paying rent. People are paying rents that are twice as much as what they would be paying if they had purchased a home that was within their financial means. I'm not mad at the Caucasian world for waging this war. They were doing what's best for them, what's best for business. The problem is we lost sight of what's best for us. This is why, and not to be heavily advertising, this is why you should join and get a subscription, not a subscriber, but get a subscription to my pages, because understanding how to live the hermetic alchemical life and to be sealed in it, meaning without fault, without blemish, controlling your finances is vital to that. If you choose not to join it, at minimum, go read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. It'll help get you started, because it is one of the books that we're going to cover as we go through this year of becoming hermetically sound, hermetically sealed, and using the alchemy of our brain of going from lead to gold in so many different areas of our lives. But that video just shows that they were ahead of the game. They're thinking decades and decades, generations and generations and generations ahead. We have to start thinking generations ahead as well. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.